Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'd like to do the time and place tag. I was tagged by Chris at Chris's Reading Corner, and this is an original tag that was created by Carl at Please Read Your Book. So there are just 5 prompts that ask you to match a book with a time or a place in your life. So here are the prompts. The first one is a book that reminds you of your past. And, I guess I have a lot of those, as probably everyone does. I already talked in another video about the role that To Kill a Mockingbird played in my childhood and in my early adolescence and in my, decision to major in English and become a teacher. So I won't go into all of that again. A book that, whenever anybody talks about it, always makes me think of my past is Stephen King's first novel, Carrie. And the reason this is connected to my past is that when I was a preteen and an early teen, I used to go into town every day, every Saturday with my best friend Kathy, and we would always go to the record store and to the local bookstore. And I have this vivid memory of us coming home one Saturday, and my purchase had been Stephen King's Carrie, and it was a new book then. And that book was all the rage when I was in, like early junior high school. So whenever anybody talks about his first novel, it always takes me back to that, happy time in my past. Another book that I've been thinking about lately that also reminds me of an important time in my past is the collected poems of W.B. Yeats. And this is an old copy. This book is almost 45 years old, this particular edition. And the reason this book connects me to my past is that I was taking it I was using this book in a course that I was taking early in college, and it was a serious poetry seminar, and it was being taught by a professor who was an American poet of great note. And I had always heard about him, but I hadn't had him yet for a course, and I was so intimidated and so scared going into this class. And then it ended up being this amazing, wonderful class. And he was not intimidating at all. He was a teddy bear, and he just loved to hear what students thought about poems, and he really taught us how to read poetry. And I think I felt understood by him, and I think he built my confidence as a serious reader of serious literature. And I just, I look at this book, and I just, it just really takes me back. I see my very earnest annotations, and they're in different colors, and you almost can't see the text of the book because of all of my annotations. And it's they're very earnest, but it's a handwriting that I almost don't recognize. I think I was 19 when I was in this course, but this is a treasure. So those are the books that I associate with my past. I said this was going to be a short tag. I can make anything. I can drag anything out, I guess. Okay, there are only 5 questions. Second question, a book that is set in a place that you want to visit but have not yet visited. So I am actually right now planning a trip to Ireland. I'm going to Ireland in the fall, and this is a dream come true. So I have lots of books that are set in Ireland. So we've got Enright, The Gathering. I love Enright. And here's my old copy of James Joyce's Dubliners. I will be spending several days in Dublin. And then of course, the book that I just did a video on at the end of the week, of last week, Are You Somebody? The Accidental Memoir of a Dublin Woman by Nuala O'Fwellon. So lots and lots of Irish books all over my house. And the next question is a book that is set in a foreign country that you admire. Well, I've spent, most of my life reading English novels, so I'm going to say England, and I just picked a few off my shelves. This is the copy of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice that I taught from. I taught this book every year to my AP English students, so this is the copy that I used. It also has annotations in it, but not quite like the Yeats annotations. So I took my Penguin Classics copy of David Copperfield, Dickens' David Copperfield, off the shelf, also set in England. One of my favorite, more recent contemporary authors, Maggie O'Farrell, her Hamnet, the story of Shakespeare's loss of his son. So this, of course, is set in England as well. I could go on and on and on. Probably 2/3 of my books are set in England. Okay. That's the third question. The fourth question is a book set in the city, province, or district that you live in. Well, there are no books set in the town where I live. However, there are several books that Judy Blume wrote that are set very near where I live now. She is from New Jersey, and her novel, In the Unlikely Event, I'll show here on my Kindle. This novel is about, it's based on a true story about a terrible plane crash that occurred in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and that's about the closest I could find to where I live. Everybody who lives near where I live, we also, of course, claim our native son, Bruce Springsteen, and his Born to Run. Much of this is, at least his early life, takes place not too far from where I live, but certainly not as close as the Judy Blume book. But really, we're a bedroom community to New York City. Nobody's heard of where I actually live, so I just brought my trusty Catcher in the Rye. This is a really old edition that I found at a used book sale. And this one, in fact, a signet paperback that was 50 cents. So, taking place, of course, over 3 days in New York City. We're very much a suburb of New York. This is the Catcher in the Rye volume that I taught the book from. It's a newer edition, but it's pretty pretty battered. And then there's so many novels set in New York City, but again, just like with England, I could go on and on. Okay, the last question is a book set in the future that you think is or will be realistic. I have two for this. I hope that they're not describing a realistic future, but these are books that scare me. One is Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. This is also the edition that I used to teach from. And of course, this is his famous book about a society where reading is illegal, and the firemen for the communities don't work to put out fires. Rather, it is their job to go and collect books wherever they find them and set them on fire. Do I think this is where we're going? I certainly hope not, but certainly this endeavor of, reading the 24 banned books in 2024 and seeing all the places where the reading of literature is being challenged, that makes me think of Fahrenheit 451. It's obviously a dystopian society, but he has things to tell us about where we are and where we might be going. And then the other book that frightens me terribly, but I think everybody's been thinking about it, many people have been thinking about it a lot in recent years, is Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. Now, I would certainly hope that that this isn't a description of our future, but certainly all of the recent challenges to women's health care, and women's control over their bodies, that makes me and a lot of people think of Margaret Atwood's dystopian novel, The Handmaid's Tale. So that's it. Those are the 5 prompts. Now I am supposed to pay this forward and tag others. I'm not sure exactly who has done this tag. I've seen a few out there. So if I'm tagging you and you've already done this, please forgive me. I would like to invite anybody who's watching who hasn't done this tag. If this interests you, I'll have the questions down below, and I hope that you'll just consider yourself tagged. But I am going to tag some specific people who I hope will do this tag. So I'm tagging David at David Novak Reads Poetry, Gavin at Genre Books 23, Dave and Olive at Book Blather, Angelia at Read and Reread, Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics, Renee at Beyond Books, James at Quaint and Curious Volumes, Debs at Rayner Reads Stuff, Floss at the Grape Jelly Library, Joe and Mary at Book Buds, Farah at Bookstalgic, Sonia at An Enthusiastic Reader, Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club, Gina at the Library Mouse Gina, Jessica at Jessica's Library Card. Okay, and really anybody else, if this looks interesting to you, I hope that you'll consider yourself tagged as well. Okay, that's it for today. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.